I feel lucky. I mean, I'm doing something different every day. And one day I'm in Hollywood, the next day I'm in Australia, and the next day I'm in a country in Eastern Europe, I'm in Africa. This project, MGS4, is taking me around the world, and I'm very grateful for that. When I was 10 years old, my dad moved us out to more of a rural area. And so all of a sudden, I'm kind of by myself, just with me and my little brother. And I found myself spending more time inside and playing a lot more games. And I think that's what really kind of kicked things off.
I would rather them be outside. And with this 2 acres we've got, they could have done lots of fun things out here, but they'd rather be down there and with their buddies playing these games, and they have a whole bunch of friends over. And
Friday nights.
Drinking all my Pepsi and Cokes, and
Saturday nights.
Everything I'd buy, bring home, the kids would come and just take it out of my pantry. There'd be nothing left.
Sunday mornings.
They'd be down there all night and into the next morning playing video games.
It really wasn't until I got the first PlayStation and I saw what games had become with this, like a CD-based format. You have voiceovers, you have more cinematic quality and experience. That was a really big change for me. I moved on from a gamer to more interested in the creative aspect, that everything that goes into these games all of a sudden isn't just about the gameplay, but it's about the music and the voiceovers and the total experience. So it really was when Metal Gear Solid hit that I realized that, wow, this is a totally different direction than I thought that video games would ever go in, and I want to be involved. See, I've done about 15 trips across the pond from Tokyo to LA for this project alone. I think this is my 12th trip to LA this year, and we're only in October. And I expect to have 3 or 4 more before New Year's. Well, I've always been a bit of a workaholic, even in university. I was working while studying at a pretty difficult school. And it wasn't more so to make money, but I always need to be stimulated. I always need to be working on something.
Well, Ryan was always driven. He's always wanted to be an overachiever. He took the toughest class he could.
I knew he'd be like a workaholic. That was obvious because he was always doing something with school and writing and internships.
With Ryan, he tended to balance his life pretty well as far as his studies, his social life, and his video games.
I had a big idea that he'd land in the video game industry. He was always writing about it, and he started a website for video game reviews.
で、ライアンはものすごい働くんですよ。僕が知ってるアメリカ人で一番働くとは思いますけど。
So I've always kept myself busy, which is why I think this job has been a pretty perfect fit, because it keeps me busy, around the clock. I think people have been pretty receptive to a kind of an American face of the studio. Here he's got somebody who was born and raised in America, who's not doing this for fame or for fortune, but really out of love for games. This is why I've been sacrificing my weekends and not seeing my family for 3 years now. The day had come that I had my bags packed, I was ready to move to Japan. And my parents knew this was going to happen. I think when I entered university and I started studying Japanese, I think they kind of could tell that one of these days he's probably going to move to Japan and use this language that he's been studying. So sure enough, that day came.
It was hard, but it was really hard watching Kathy when we left him in Seattle to get on the plane to go to Japan.
I physically could not get my legs to move. I just stood there. It was incredibly hard.
It was one of the hardest things I've ever seen, to watch my wife, watch her son go off to a very different land than ours.
We all thought he'd come back pretty soon, but he started liking it and started working a lot, and he started landing that Kojima job, and everyone started getting real proud of him. That was really nice to actually see him do something.
Being in Tokyo, being in Roppongi specifically, where the studio is, where I'm living, it's a weird place because it's very international, and we have the coffee shops, the same restaurants that you would find on the west coast of the United States. But being here in Tokyo and working at the studio, it's been a great privilege, but I don't really spend a lot of time at home here in this kind of confined space. A lot of work, but the environment's it's very clean, it's very safe, and I'm pretty fortunate for that. It took a while to get the trust of Mr. Kojima, because everybody who joins the studio, we almost have 200 people working on MGS4, and everybody's got motivation. They have a purpose or a goal that they want to fulfill by joining the studio, by doing those long hours. And obviously Mr. Kojima wants to know that. So it took some time. We had a lot of quality time when we were researching the game in Eastern Europe, and we went on that week-long stay. And all these different trade shows, from Tokyo Game Show to E3, where we're sharing every meal together. That's where he really got to, I think, to know me and know that I'm not doing this for fame or to get my name out there, but I'm doing this because I love Metal Gear. And after about a year and a half, I think he was willing to give me a chance. My specific role on the game is really hard to describe because every day I'm doing something different. And in Japan, on almost every video game development team, you have the token gaijin, or the token foreigner, who's in charge of English. I'm one of the producers on the title. I'm an assistant producer, which means that I can work on all elements of the game. I'm traveling around the world on research trips. I'm helping with master submissions. I'm helping with packaging. I'm helping with gameplay balancing. And for a guy like me who needs constant stimulation, it's perfect.
We were able to visit his office the last time we were in Tokyo, and I know that it was unusual for people to go in and visit while they were working, and I was just amazed of just how many people were there and how hard they were working.
When I walked in the place, here he's got 200 guys on one floor of this building, and they all have their PlayStation and they have their computer and their 2 monitors putting out heat, plus them all in there, and they got the air conditioning going full blast, and it's still hot in there. How do they get guys to do this? But they must have a passion for it.
When I was over there and I saw him in Japan, it's cool to see him in his element and interacting with people, and it's completely different than when he is over here. And
I find that the people that I've met that Ryan has introduced us to, that he works with, they seem to have a really great working relationship with Ryan.
It's always interesting when you have, something that I've been working on and that a certain team has been working on for so long. To have a new person come in, there's always that, what's going to happen over here? How much are you going to try to change? And I think Ryan and I really see eye to eye on the characters, and I think that we really also see eye to eye on the performances, to the point where in the session, he'll be starting to say something, and I'll say it to the actor, and we'll both say, "Get out of my head."
Working with Ryan was great. I mean, you talk about somebody who's on it and has a just encyclopedic knowledge of what to draw on. Ryan and Chris, they're like a machine. You put them together and you got a working machine. It's amazing.
僕らは日本人のほとんど日本人です。フランス人とかいますけど、90% ぐらい日本人で日本でゲームを作ってるんですけど、やっぱりそれでは世界に向けてのものづくりは非常に不完全なんですよ。でライアンがにいろんなものをチェックしてもらって、ライアンがアメリカ代表ではないんですけども、ライアンの意見を取り入れることで、若干今までとはちょっと違うメタルギアソリッドにはなっていると思いますので、非常にありがたいですね。
We have 200 people working on this game for 3 years who dedicate every day of their lives to it, including a lot of weekends, and they're going home at the last train. And those are like the real stars in the studio. I'm grateful for what I've been giving, but other times I feel almost a certain sense of guilt because you get credit for stuff that you don't do. My family and getting back home to the States is always in the back of my mind. But I've got a number of ideas for games, and I've pitched several ideas to Mr. Kojima. Nothing that's gone through any kind of pre-production phases, but I'm always thinking, and I'm always waiting for that opportunity. I miss my family. If there was ever a reason to go back home, it would be to spend more time with my family. I have a great job. I live in a great city, but it lacks one thing, and that is my family.
We've been very fortunate that Ryan's been home. In fact, he might be home more than a lot of young men that go off and start their careers. And so we feel very fortunate that Ryan comes home as often as he does.
I do miss him, he's my older brother, and it's good to have him around sometimes.
I thought that this video game industry was going to be a phase, and it would kind of go away, and then now I'm kind of thinking maybe this was a good move. And he's obviously good at it, so why not go for what you're good at?
It's a comfortable place to be. I mean, there's a lot of pressure still. I mean, there's a pressure to succeed and to be number one, and it's always on your shoulders, and it's hard to forget. But on the other hand, I'm surrounded by people that love games and they're so cool and so talented that I really embraced this opportunity that I had. And despite the fact that there's hard times and a certain sacrifice that I had made, but all in all, it's just been an incredible experience and one that I would never give up.